Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We're your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
Well, busyness, overworking, addictive doing, and perfectionism might be the norm. It's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams. Let's dive in.
G'day guys, welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. I am Chris Billette, this is Philly.
Hello.
And we're pretty excited to have the very first episode of the Ending Body Burnout Show. It's been a long time coming.
So long. We've been talking about this for probably the past 2 years, so super excited to get this launched.
Yeah.
Now, today we're going to talk about what we mean by ending body burnout. But before we do, we just thought we'd share what you can expect to see on the Ending Body Burnout Show and the episodes to come. So we've got a few different types of episodes, varieties. We are really keen to get some awesome key industry leaders in the field of functional medicine, burnout, and holistic healing onto the show so we can provide you with some really amazing education around how you can actually address body burnout. We also have some amazing clients who have done some wonderful things and have amazing healing journey stories to share, as well as some really cool, highly successful entrepreneurs who haven't had to give up their business in order to heal their body. And so we want to share these stories because I find that stories are healing in and of themselves and can provide you with the evidence that it is possible to end your body burnout. We've also got some special episodes. So one, we are calling it the Connect the Dots episode. And this is where we want you, the listener, to send in your case, story, or history, and I will put my detective hat on and I'm going to do what I would usually do in an initial consult with someone. You'll find out more information about that, but if this is like piquing your interest and you're like, oh, I'd love to get my case history workshopped on an episode, feel free to DM us. And we will also be doing some live coaching episodes as well, where we will have some listeners come in and have coaching around the blocks that are stopping you from healing. And that's mostly about it. We will have different episodes too about specific symptoms, conditions, diseases that are associated with ending body burnout and provide you with an alternative to healing these at a root cause level.
Take a big deep breath. Excited to be here and can't wait to get to know you all. Send in your questions, your comments. Absolutely, in this early stage of our podcast, we are keen to mold and bend and change and adjust and edit our approach to things. So if you've got any suggestions or things that you'd like to see or know about ending body burnout, let us know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what do we actually mean by ending body burnout. So let's chat about symptoms first.
Yeah. Well, you can't have the signs are always there. That you can go through your life and the signs are always there about are you prioritizing or over prioritizing doing and effort and work, and the signs pop up. I'm tired, push through. I'm exhausted, push through. Effort, intensity, reward only comes, fortune favors the bold, all those sort of things. And yet you get tired and you push through, push, go. And eventually the symptoms start popping up. And not only do you feel frustrated and a little bit annoyed and overwhelmed, but you're starting to get sick and sore, and the stress starts to come in, and the situation you find yourself in doesn't really lend itself to optimal living. You might be alive, but you're not really living. You're not thriving. And throughout all this, You go to the GP and your blood tests come back normal. So you can't have these symptoms without there being an underlying dysfunction in your body system. And so that's the very first thing that we look at when we start working with someone, isn't it, hun?
Yeah. Before we get to that, though, I just want to list some, Chris has been talking about you push through, you're tired, but some specific symptoms. So a lot of people, when they think about burnout, like traditionally usually it's talking about work burnout. So burnout in the workforce, it's like you're on the computer for too long, you're working too hard, and now you're feeling a bit cooked. We use the term body burnout because you can't, as Chris said, you can't have symptoms arise without there being some sort of body dysfunction. And some symptoms that we see really commonly and that we're really good at healing are energy, mood, and gut issues. So energy might be like chronic fatigue or even just crashes of energy throughout the day, or you need to go to bed at 7 p.m. like a child because you can't adult anymore. Energy as well might look like brain fog or insomnia and sleep issues, which then causes more energy issues. Mood issues. So we work with a lot of people who either have full-blown anxiety or depression, or sometimes it's more functional symptoms. So like, you might not be clinically diagnosed, but you might have mood imbalances, irritability. I call that the dragon mum if you have children and you're just like, ugh, I'm not coping with all the small things, which feel like very big things in my life anymore. And now I'm very triggered and I'm irritable, angry, all the things. Chris hates it when I say, so I'm really going to try hard not to on this podcast. Okay. So, and then lastly, there's gut issues. And I like to combine that in terms of inflammatory issues as well. So gut issues could be bloating, reflux, constipation, diarrhea, abdominal pain, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, and then a cascade of other inflammatory issues are usually showing up with those. So things like headaches and migraines, things like autoimmune conditions, hormonal issues. So they're the combination of symptoms we're talking about when we talk about body burnout, which is quite a lot of symptoms.
Yeah. So you can't have any of those symptoms unless there's an underlying dysfunction in the body systems. So the symptoms come to the surface. That's what you become aware of. It's what you notice. You go to the doctor for, you jump onto Google, you go forum hopping, get guessing, and underneath all of that, there's some sort of dysfunction in your body systems. It's impossible, guys. It's impossible for there not to be a dysfunction in the body systems. And it's about first layer of inquiry is finding out and connecting what body system or body systems is involved with the symptoms that are popping up.
Yeah, so we use functional lab testing to detect that. So if you've gone, to the doctors or specialists, maybe some things have popped up. Maybe even you've been diagnosed with a condition like fibromyalgia. What's another one that's common? Diabetes, heart disease, all those sort of things. And the doctor's like, here you go, here's some medication, which is, within their toolkit.
Did you say insomnia?
Insomnia, yeah, is a big one. So even then...
Endometriosis.
Yeah, and even then...
PMS,
PCOS. Even then,
menopause.
Even then there's something going on at a body systems level. So the three main body systems that we test for, which can be recorrected and reset, are the neuroendocrine system, the GI system, and the detox system. So that looks at things like your brain and your neurotransmitters. We can actually test for that via urine. That's insane. So cool. So look at stress hormones, which is often, so your adrenal glands, which is often not looked at when you go to a medical specialist. We also look at your female hormones or your male hormones, your mitochondria. So that's all about how well you're converting food into energy. So if that system's flunked out, that can cause chronic fatigue and all sorts of issues, including weight gain, because you're not converting food into energy very effectively. So it just gets stored as fat. And then GI system. So we're looking at things like pathogens, all those squirmy parasites and worms, which can cause a lot of issues, candida, your beneficial microbiome, leaky gut, digestive organs, and detox pathways. It's all about how well your liver and your kidneys are getting rid of the crap from your body. And that system is often kaput as well, which means that you're harboring a lot of toxins in your body, putting more stress onto these other body systems.
The funny thing is, I think about it like a Band-Aid. You know what? Like Band-Aids are great. Band-Aids, what do? Stop infection, prevent bleeding all over the carpet, all that sort of stuff, prevent hurt and pain when you bump into the little cut and all that sort of stuff. So Band-Aids are great. They wouldn't have sold billions and billions of Band-Aids if they didn't at least serve some purpose. So I often think about, why do you keep needing a Band-Aid in the first place? Like, why is that a need for you? And yeah, putting on a Band-Aid might not be hurting anybody and all that sort of stuff. It covers the wound, but you know what? It's covering that wound on, let's just say, your shin. Why do you keep cutting yourself on your shin? Oh, it's because I banged my shin on this little wardrobe that's by my door. Okay, great. So maybe the root cause of the cut is making a little shift, and it's moving that cupboard around. So the first layer of inquiry is connecting up body systems, but then it's like, well, why is your body system doing those things in the first place? What shift do you need to make in your health, in your life, in your well-being, kind of like moving that cupboard around, that's going to stop that cut from even showing up in the first place? That's the next layer of inquiry, isn't it? Like really finding out why that's even happening in the first place.
Yeah. So when I get lab tests back for clients, it's like, oh, this is interesting. Your adrenals, you're in adrenal fatigue. Oh, your dopamine is really burnt out. You've got candida, which loves to eat sugar and carbohydrates and all the things. And so then it's like, okay, great. There's a common misconception, I would say, in natural therapies, especially if you're kind of interested in functional medicine, clinical nutrition, naturopathy, that once you get the lab test back and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I've got candida, I've got leaky gut, I've got methylation issues, which is a genetic mutation.
We found the root cause.
We found the root cause. And you know what?
Have you?
When I was a beginner practitioner, and even when I was, first healing myself, which you'll hear that story next week, I believed the same thing. I was like, yes. I remember when I did my stool test and I was really struggling with heartburn, and like that was one of the many symptoms. And I'm like, yes, I've got Helicobacter pylori and parasites and candida. I've found the root cause of my heartburn. Before that, I'd been using like the over-the-counter quickies tablets, which helped. Then I tried to do a natural alternative, lemon essential oil on my chest, apple cider vinegar. Again, helped, but it didn't get rid of the heartburn. It was just kind of like using a natural Band-Aid with the natural stuff. And so anyway, so I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's get rid of all the pathogens. Now, the thing is, and you'll hear in my story next week, that only healing the body systems will only get short-term results because it's not the root cause. It's a very important part of ending your body burnout, because we need to figure out what body systems have burnt out or become imbalanced so that we can physiologically heal those. But then underneath that, what are all the sticky, icky root causes that led to that in the first place? And so some things, again, I'm going to talk about, like, traditionally in functional medicine, we're starting to think about things like your diet. So, you drink wine at night, most nights, or your emotional eating and you're eating all the chocolate. Well, okay, yeah, that would be a root cause as to why you have candida. It could be toxins in the environment. We live in a world that is full of so many toxins now. Our bodies are amazing though. Like, we're built to be able to clear them with some support sometimes. So toxins, definitely a root cause. EMFs, pathogens like COVID or glandular fever or parasites that might come into your system. What else are some other common root causes that people talk about? Stress, stress, you're doing too much, stop stressing. That's usually considered a root cause, and all of these are a root cause. But we also have a saying that we help people get to the root cause. It's like, well, why are you eating the chocolate? Why are you drinking the alcohol? Why are you working so much? Why do you get stressed out about money when your husband doesn't?
Why did you move that cupboard there in the first place? Why is it in the middle of the doorway?
Then even like, why were you more susceptible to picking up Giardia when you went to India, but your best friend also got it and her body was able to clear it? Okay. Oh, well, yeah, root cause could be genetic mutations, but there's a beautiful thing called epigenetics where we can actually turn our genes on and off. So why are you now expressing a genetic issue when you've been living 30 years of your life without having any symptoms from that? And so that's where I personally got a bit stuck with functional medicine, and where I see a lot of our clients who maybe have worked with other practitioners where they're like, yeah, I have a lot of awareness now. I've changed the way that I'm eating. I'm sleeping better. I'm moving, or maybe like dropped down exercise because I was doing too much. I've gone tox free. Oh, I'm trying to go for walks more and give myself self-care and all the things. Or maybe we also have a bunch of people who are like, I know all this stuff, but I can't do it. I have tried and I've tried and I've tried to change, but I keep yo-yoing. So regardless of which camp you're currently in, if this is resonating with you, you haven't got to the root cause yet. Do you want to chat about the root cause, and maybe specifically around the people that we love serving who are busy,
stories that are passed on generation to generation, parent values of effort and work passed on to us, and a system of shaming and guilt, fear, anxiety, and in the chasing and the wanting for stuff and things and doing, we suppress these deep stories. And how far do we want to go down this rabbit hole in today's episode?
Maybe not. Well, I don't know. We could continue talking about this for ages, but I want to add something here because it can show up in different ways as well, this busyness. Literally, I was talking to someone this week, actually, a client, and we were talking about busyness and really struggling to be able to stop and relax and chill. I put my hand up for this too, because this was a pattern that I had where, yes, I was carving out time. I was very good with my time and my schedule. I would carve out time for all sorts of things. But even if I went for, say, a walk along the beach, there was a part of me that still felt like the tiger was chasing me, which drove me to never really feeling like I could relax and disconnect in a healthy way. And so that then drove the busyness and the overdoing and the achieving. And that was, and this is very common for a lot of people, sometimes there is that very like big goals, like, oh, I want to make more money, I want to do more things, I want to make a big impact. And, you know, it's driven from that. Sometimes people actually don't start doing because they have these big goals. It's actually more of like I would call it a trauma response, where they're running away from something. They're running away from something that is hidden inside of them that they are very afraid of. And at the deepest root core of that are the beliefs that we have about ourselves. That was my experience, which I'll share next week. But it can show up in lots of ways. And so, you know, especially if you're a parent, or, you know, I find this more so for mums who are also working or building businesses, and the to-do list never ends. And so then that drives this behavior where, yeah, you're not resting enough. Even when you are asleep, you're probably not in a deep sleep because you're constantly in this fight-flight response. And that then has a dramatic impact in our habits. So it might show up as unhealthy habits, or maybe actually you have habits which are super healthy, but it's like restrictive, it's forced, it doesn't feel very nice. But you're doing it from a place of fear and running away. And I don't know where I was going with that, but that is a common pattern that I see. And so this is what we mean by the root cause. Yes, we want to look at the level of the body systems. Then we want to look at, all right, what's happening in your lifestyle? What's happening in your environment? What's happening with the food that you're putting into your system? But then even deeper than that is, and this is where you get real long-lasting change, is what are the stories and the beliefs and the patterns that you have often hidden in your subconscious state that is actually driving all of this in the first place.
Yeah.
And from a physiological point of view as well, if you've got these hidden busyness patterns that are coming from a place of fear, that is like you have a tiger inside of you chasing you 24/7. No joke. And so that's constantly secreting cortisol, which is a stress hormone that then leads to adrenal fatigue. You're also producing a bucket load of adrenaline and dopamine, which over time will start to deplete. So these hormones and chemicals are fear-based hormones and chemicals. They're putting your body into a state of alert and feeling like you're in danger and threatened. And then at some point, something's going to crack. So when you're producing too much of these hormones, chemicals, they start to deplete, gut starts breaking down, detox pathways can't clear toxins anymore. And this is why a lot of people, when they really try hard to get on top of their health issues, but they're only doing it at the layer of physical health or maybe even changing habits or trying to change habits, it doesn't often last.
So in recap, we have symptoms and sickness and soreness, and that's where we differentiate body burnout from entrepreneurial or career burnout. The psychological, start to get that physiological symptomology happening. You can't have that unless there's an underlying root cause of body system dysfunction. But you can't have that without there being some sort of root cause of a physical or metaphysical, is what we call it, stresses. But then we get into a little bit more. There's a root cause around nervous system dysregulation and stories and the state that you find yourself in. And I think as we get through this, the coming weeks, we're going to explore the concept of getting to that root cause and dysregulated nervous systems and physical and metaphysical stresses, inflammation, different types of body system dysfunction, symptomology, situations, sorenesses, stresses, sicknesses, all these signs of body burnout. And I think that's going to be fun to unpack, and hopefully we do a good job of dumbing it down and making it clear for you.
Awesome.
So pretty stoked to maybe call this one here, wrap it up. But thank you so much.
Yeah. If you have, if you have anything that you're like, oh, I'd love Chris and Philly to talk about this, or I'd love to see this person on the podcast, or I'd love to put my hand up for a Connect the Dots workshop episode or coaching session, send us a DM via Facebook or Instagram. We would love, we want this to be interactive. We want you to be part of our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook. Have the best day ever.